What's going on, everyone? It's Sheena, aka Sheenapreneur, your favorite veteran. I want to talk to you about overanalyzing. And I really think that it's deeper than if y'all have checked out Start Bidding video that has just done so well. I just want to kind of build on that a little bit because I've been seeing it more and more with the more students that I get and the more people in the circle community and more people I talk to, kind of dive into the overanalyzing and what it actually does for you or what it doesn't do for you in government contracting right after the intro. Hey everyone, welcome to my channel. Here on the Sheenapreneur channel, I share information about government contracting, veteran business content, and other business tips. So for those who haven't seen my video, stop researching and start bidding. Make sure you check it out. I'll put the card and put the link in the description. But it's basically me talking about, and that was in 2021 when I did that video. So fast forward, this is 2023. And I just want to kind of build on that a little bit. And so in that video, I just described people will do so much research, but they won't actually take action. And so I guess I've been blessed and cursed with the ability to analyze everything to oblivion and then also action everything or almost everything. So that leaves me very, very busy. I mean, busy in a sense of I can do that, I can do that, I can do that. And that's a great quality to have to an extent. And then you have people who are on the opposite side where they'll research and come back to me 3 years later and say they haven't actioned on anything. And that's really, really unfortunate. And what I find, I don't know if this is like my own Sheena statistics or whatever, my smartest people are the ones who take essentially the least risk. And they're the ones who are really, really, they want to make sure they have everything identified, everything perfect, everything. They need to know everything before they bid on anything, before they even go to an event, before they even start a conversation. They feel like they need to know every single part of this before they even get a chance to get started. And so you get the analysis paralysis. We all know the term now. I've used it to death. It's been used to death everywhere else. And it's really, really important that you're not doing that, because what happens, and I see it every day, y'all, I see it every day, that people will do analysis paralysis and they'll actually miss stuff. It is so weird because you're missing stuff because you're focusing on the things that don't matter. If you're looking at a solicitation, let's say the actual solicitation is 100 pages. And I see this a lot in Fulton County, Georgia, where it's 100 pages, but then page 51 through 100 is actually a copy of the solicitation itself. So it's basically the solicitation twice in these 100 documents. And so if I'm brand new and I see 100 documents, I'm like, I can't read that. I'm not doing that, that's too much. But now you haven't even gotten a chance to go through what was really in there. It was only really 50 pages. And so now you've analyzed, I can't do it, before you even really looked at anything. So you're missing the opportunity to bid on something that may be essentially easy. So let's even break those 50 pages down. The first few pages is basically telling you when it's due, what it is, who you send it to, how you send it, what time, what date, blah, 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 the first few pages. The next few pages are usually, here's the information about this agency. The agency was incorporated in 1900, in 1950, and we have been looking for a wonderful contractor to help us do construction for the last 70 years. That might be 5 pages of them giving information about that particular agency, literally. So now you probably knocked out about 10 pages of just background. Then you get to scope. The scope literally might only be 2-3 pages, if that. And by scope, I mean it's telling all the details about something. Let's just say it's cleaning. They might say the scope is this many days, this many hours, these many employees need to be there, here are the hours, here's the day you need to come and visit, do the site visit, and then some other jargon about how to use products safely. So that's the scope of work, but if you're a professional cleaner, you usually, I would hope, can identify using products safe, but that might be 3 pages right there. So that's the next few pages, the scope. Most of the stuff after that is jargon. So let's just say we knocked out 20 pages already, and now we're on page 21 through 40. 21 through 40 is going to be jargon. It's gonna have definitions of everything in that solicitation. This is not always, this is sometimes, and I'm talking about local, I'm not talking about federal, so don't beat me up. But basically it's jargon saying this is what non-collusion means, this is what municipality means, this is what scope of work means, literally jargon, right? So now you're at page 40. So page 41 through 50 are the documents you need to complete. Now that is what really had me attracted to local at the beginning. Now federal it can be pretty simple too, and there's not a lot of documentation involved, but When it comes to local, a lot of times they just want those specific documents completed, and they may not need a cover letter. They don't want nothing. They just want you to fill out those documents, get the ones that need to be notarized, and submit that puppy however they want you to submit it. When you saw the initial 100 pages, you freaked out, you overanalyzed, and cut yourself out before you even got a chance. So if you're really just breaking things down into digestible, understanding for yourself, because everybody learns different, everybody digests information different. A lot of us have adult ADD, so it's hard for us to really focus on something, a task that large of multiple documents and sitting there and really reading and calculating and all that kind of stuff. Trust me, I understand. It is very challenging. But then eventually you become so good at it, it's redundant, and you'll have a working template. Even if you're going after other locations and other counties and other states, you'll still have like a working template, and then now you can hire someone to fill in those blanks. And those documents that need to be completed, usually it's redundant. First document is fill in all your company data, like the name of the company, the owner, the address, the CEO, sign it. The next one might be a non-collusion document, meaning you don't have a leg up by your husband is the contracting officer or whatever the case may be, sign it. The next one might be, is your company registered in the state? And you just fill in, yes it is, here's a name, since the year that you started, sign it. So that's 3 documents you could probably get done in, with the exception of something getting notarized, you can get it done in like 10 minutes. So you go through those documents and they're not asking for a proposal or anything super extravagant. You have your pricing pages in there, which sometimes they want a lump sum. One number. They want one number. They want the total amount for whatever period of time you're supposed to be covering. Let's just say it's a year. And you did all the calculations with the janitorial. You're like, I need 5 employees, 5 days a week, or 5 hours, whatever the case may be. And you multiply that to give you the number for the entire year, and that's all they want. And that might just be, one document, and you've been so afraid to look at the documents, you didn't realize how easy it actually was. And again, the people that I noticed that are super, super high intellect people, like high functioning with, PhDs and all these degrees and all these things, all this stuff after their name, retired military, all retired corporate, struggle because I get it, because it is a very, very daunting task to take on something new, especially when you're in your second, third career or second, change in your business, and you're trying to bring something new into it that you don't fully understand. But it really is about watching YouTube University. That includes me, that includes a whole bunch of others. And again, I always say anyone who's teaching people about government contracting, is good with me, because we want to get everyone to the promised land, right? That's always what I preach, no matter what. And so if you're watching YouTube University, you're reading, you're not overextending yourself, you're also taking actions when you're doing this. Okay, Sheena taught me about local contracting. I have multiple videos about local contracting. Let me go in and do that thing. Okay, that's it. It doesn't have to be perfect. And the great thing about it not being perfect is that if it's not, they'll tell you. All you gotta do is ask for a debrief, or it might be clear why you didn't win because your price was way too high or way too low or whatever the red flag might be. And so you can literally just put something in, put it in, get the bid in. Like one of my contractors, he was like, this is the epitome of just get the bid in. Just get it in. And yeah, are you wasting time, some people say? But you'll be wasting time by just researching and reading and not really doing anything at all. Why keep talking about government contracting if you're not gonna take any action? And that's just me being Mama Sheena, you know what I mean? Like, you really need to take action on something. Even if it's getting your certifications. Like, I know some people that get the local certifications where it's not as strenuous, where you can just register locally as a woman-owned, veteran-owned, minority-owned, disadvantaged, all those certifications, and you're moving, at least you're moving the needle. You're getting the exercise of documents and timelines and communication, where some people are like doers. They're out in the field, they don't want to do documentation, but you're changing what you want to do for your business. So get out there and bid. Stop analyzing. Just read and execute. If you read, sometimes that's all you need to do, and they'll tell you exactly what they need. They'll tell you exactly how to do it. Now, make it make sense for you. Don't go out there and bid on something and you're like, Sheena said I could change the world, like I could do whatever I want. No. Don't do anything that doesn't make sense. Don't go after something that you have no clue about. I will preach that until forever. Now, I'm in facility management and I guess education at this point. I'm not bidding on fuel. I'm not bidding on fruit, because there's contracts for like exotic fruit trading and stuff like. I don't know enough. It makes sense in theory, but I feel like there's gaps. And so if I feel like there's gaps, I'm either gonna learn about it and execute, or I'm gonna learn about it and say, that's not for me, or I'm not gonna do it. There's too much work out here for us to, partake in, instead of going after stuff that you're just so unclear about because you feel like it's easy, or you feel like it's easy and it don't end up being easy because you don't know the gaps. That's all I'm saying. But I will bid on books. If there was a contract for the Department of Corrections where they needed like 1,700 books. I'm like, I thought about everything that could possibly go wrong, right? Anytime you want to think about something where it seems like, this is either weird or too easy, or it might be challenging, but I can't see the challenge, think about the logistics. So for me, I was like, books? Like, what? Like, books? I can do that. It's nothing to do with what we do, but I can bid on books. That's easy. Amazon, Barnes & Noble, they want a brand new book. Then I was like, okay, the logistics, how does that work? Do they want this all together in one big shipment? Is it going to multiple locations? Can it come in, like, can Amazon just deliver it to them and they get a book a day? Or like, how does that work? And so that's when I started saying, okay, I can see how the pricing can be really high on this, because if they really need the books delivered all at once for some sort of giveaway or something like that, then I might need to order, quickly and get them all together and then repackage them and then bring them, haul them in the back of my truck or something and bring them myself. So that changes pricing. It changes your time. It changes pricing when you think about, okay, what are the logistics of this thing if you're doing product? What are the restrictions when it comes to services? Is there a labor law? And these are things that are not analyzed type things. These are things like, this is a fact, this is what it is, this is what it costs, implement it and move on. That's it. It's not for you to research every single wage increase in the last 55 years. It's for you to just say, what is the wage determination right now? Which the wage determination is minimum wage. It's the minimum wage plus fringe and hazard pay. It's usually on the federal side, and then on the local side, it's called David's Bacon or something like that, Davis Bacon, something like that. And so that's the minimum wage plus whatever the fringe and hazard pay would be to put on top of the minimum wage. For example, I think for janitorial in Georgia, it's like $14 an hour plus $4 fringe hazard pay together. So it's essentially $18 an hour, 18-ish dollars an hour minimum wage, essentially. So, with that, it's like, that's it. I'm not gonna lose any sleep over that. I can't do anything about that. That's what it's gonna be. I'm gonna add a price on there and keep it moving. So, my overanalyzers, just read it and execute the same way you would do anything else. If you're reading, a contract if you're a homeowner, most of us don't read those documents, but if you're doing a loan, if you've ever read a contract, if you ever read something where you're like, I gotta sign this, I better make sure I read it, it's the same energy. It's the same energy for that. And so I just want you guys to be motivated. I want you to go out there and bid and win. Because if you don't bid, if you don't win, then all the contracts go to the large companies. And then small companies are gonna cease to exist because we're not going out there and executing. So yeah, that's a bit dramatic, but I'm just saying it really does go to the large companies. I've had so many contracting officers say to me, I put it out for women owned, no one responded, so then I had to put it on open, free and open, or whatever it's called on the federal side, where they allow any company to participate in the solicitation. That is bad. That means we are not going out there and bidding on anything. We are letting the contracting officers know that we don't exist. We're too afraid. There's so many companies registered in these states. There's so many companies registered on SAM, and people will have their SAM registration for 4 or 5 years and not even open it back up to where their SAM is disabled or deleted altogether. Just get out there, do your thing. I believe in you. Trust me, I believe in you. I've heard so many questions. I've asked so many questions. This is over 7, 8, 9 years of information that I'm trying to pour into you guys. So you can't have all the answers the first week that you get into government contracting, even the first year. If you're not actively participating in a contract, like you are not seeking and bidding and winning, executing, hiring, there's no way you're gonna know everything to do. You have to do the things. I've done the things over and over and over, you know, painfully and happily. So of course I'm able to say I'm seeing the vision differently than how everyone else is seeing the vision, because you all haven't executed. And if you've executed one and maybe you were like self-employed, it's still a little different than it is to, you know, when it comes to services or even products, as far as like buying, and you might have a manufacturer issue, a delay, you might, you know, different logistical issues when it comes to delivering. All those things, you know, play a part when it comes to, you know, going from the whole life cycle of an opportunity, because it starts off as an opportunity, an idea, and then it is born into a solicitation, or it's born into, you know, some sort of opportunity, even if it doesn't go out on the market, and then it gets executed, and then there's a closeout. So that whole life cycle is knowledge that most of you don't have, and that's fine. That's totally fine. Just know that you have to start somewhere, one foot in front of the other. Register on that state portal, register in SAM. The next step could be anything from doing the certifications. It could be hiring an admin, but don't hire anybody unless you know what they're gonna be doing. Don't hire somebody saying you need an admin and I'm just gonna pay them and they're gonna figure everything out for you. You're the boss. You're the boss. How are they gonna figure out everything for you? Unless you're hiring someone who that's their specialty. You're hiring, whether it's a consultant and that's what they do. But if you're hiring an admin off of Indeed, that they just an admin, not just, I should say just, but they're an admin, and even if they don't have, they may not even have government contracting experience, you can't expect them to come in and save your business. You have to be able to navigate through some things in order to give them some things to execute on. So I almost say don't even hire anybody until you've already really won a contract, or at least bid on a contract. Let me not say win, that you've actually like gone through this process. There's something about getting those bids in that just scares y'all to death, Anyway, I'm off my soapbox. Again, I'm always on a soapbox, but I'm off my soapbox. I just want you guys to be encouraged. Stop overanalyzing and get out there and make a move. Even if that move is picking up the phone and calling. You can pick up the phone and call. That's not my jam. Pick up the phone and call and ask the contracting officers, hey, do you have any sole source opportunities? I saw this opportunity. It's too late for me to bid on it now. Do you have any other opportunities? You never know what that conversation might lead to. Some people do in person, and that sometimes works, sometimes it doesn't. Everyone needs to know what you do. Your name comes up, they're gonna say, oh, I know a person that does that. I know a guy, I know a girl, and they'll start speaking for you. So that's one of the main things. The other thing is to make sure that you're narrowing down your niche, because this like just going after stuff and not really knowing what you're doing is gonna muddy up the market and make it really hard for other contractors as we go along. And we're in these niches, but because someone's like, oh, janitorial is easy, then they're gonna think that, you go in there and you do something not correct, or everyone makes mistakes, but if there's an influx of people who are not knowing what they're doing, they're gonna change the rules, just like they did in War Dog. So the rules change when there's too many things, too many gaps, too many things going on, and they're gonna, notice that there's a lot of conversation right now in 2023 about government contracting through a lot of, social media and a lot of YouTube and that type of thing. I'm super transparent, so you guys probably know everything about me, about my business, because I share, and I'm not ashamed of my failures, and I'm not ashamed of the mistakes that I made, and I feel like they're very, very important for people to know. I have bad days, I have rough days, I have days I want to quit, I have, days that I look to some of my peers and I'm like, oh my God, why are they somewhere where I'm not? Why do I feel like I'm not good enough? My business is not good enough. Even though you might have accomplished so much in your business, but then there's this thing where I guess they call it imposter syndrome, and you don't feel like you're where you're supposed to be. And that might even be if you're just starting in government contracting. You're like, man, Eric Coffey had somebody on his channel and they were like 18 and they made $2 million. And it's like, you don't compare your journey to anyone else, because before government contracting, you still can't compare your journey to anyone else. So it's the same. But anyway, that was just a little Sheena-ism, a little feels about where you should be, and doesn't matter where you are. It's, the journey is a part of the process. It's beautiful as you make it, and you just put one foot in front of the other every day. You just never know what might come in a year, in a month, in a day. So just make sure that you're putting one foot in front of the other. Make sure that you're getting out there bidding. Make sure you're building relationships. Make sure you're picking up the phone of the call. You're emailing. You're analyzing the stuff about yourself to see where your gaps thoughts are. Maybe you need to get up earlier. Maybe you need to stay up later. Maybe you need to take naps. Maybe you need to, I don't know, take some kind of sip or something. I don't know. Just find what works for you in order for you to put your best foot forward. So again, we have the Circle community. Please make sure that you jump in and share your experiences and share your government contracting journey if you already started one, or any questions that you have for the group. Also have the GovConNOW course, which teaches about federal, local, and corporate contracting. I also have something for my veterans. And until next time, it's your favorite veteran.